Welcome on back to Skippers. Today we are doing the first tier list of the season. Did a bunch last year. People loved it, so they are back. Going to be just tier listing the Major League Baseball teams so far this season. Like 45 games into the year so far. Kind of how the teams stack up, how I think they're going to finish for the rest of the season. 5 different categories. World Series, teams I think are legitimate shot for the World Series. Playoffs, should be some locks. Teams on the bubble. 4, who cares, and then 5, hopeless. So we'll see how the teams definitely go into these tiers. We are back on Sorare MLB, the best way to play a nice little alternative with fantasy baseball for free. Now we are going to go into the private contest. We have created one. I'll have the link in the bio. I'll have the link in the comments as well. You're going to get to play against me for a game week. It's going to run from the Mondays to the Thursdays, not this Monday, but the Monday after that. The link will be there ready for you guys to enter into the contest. And the winner of this contest will get a free subscription for the rest of the year for MLB TV. Who doesn't like MLB TV? Being able to watch all of the games. You take your cards, we'll play for a single game week, and whoever wins a free subscription to MLB TV. Don't think there's a better way to play for free. Take your players, put them up against me. You'll see how I do. My private contest. Play against me on Sorare MLB, and we'll see how you guys stack up. First team we have here, the Arizona Diamondbacks, and for me, they're kind of in the bubble playoffs tier for me too. So if we could put like a playoffs bubble, mix them together, the Arizona Diamondbacks would be right there for me. So far this season, 24-19 plus 14 run differential. Zach Allen's pitching incredibly well. We have guys like Christian Walker kind of underperforming with runners on base for that team, but then you have guys like Lourdes Gurriel, hottest hitter in baseball. He just does this thing once a season, and the Diamondbacks are really good. They've found a way to win games, young core, playing exciting baseball. So for me, I'll go, I know they are in a wild card spot so far. They're the top wild card team right now. So I'll put them in the playoffs tier. I think they're a good enough team. Probably should be on the bubble here, but I'll go playoffs for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Next, we have the Atlanta Braves, 26-16 Braves. Incredible on the road so far, 16-7 on the road, only 10-9 at home. For me, I'm going World Series for the Atlanta Braves. That lineup, just run by Ronald Acuna Jr. at this point, is very good. I know you have the Max Fried injury right now, but your Spencer Strider has cemented himself as maybe the best pitcher in baseball this season. So I think Ronald Acuna Jr. carrying this team. They're starting to get some production from other players as well, like Marcell Ozuna against the Blue Jays this weekend. It sucks because he's a horrible person, but he is helping this team, this Atlanta Braves team for real. If we get Austin Riley hot here, it is going to be a nightmare. So the Atlanta Braves, World Series worthy in this tier. Next, we have the Baltimore Orioles, 27-15 to start this season. They are leading the wild card right now. For me, are all the AL East teams playoff worthy, or are they all World Series contenders at this point? Because they're just so good. For me, I was kind of out on Baltimore this season. I thought they'd go under their win total. I thought they overperformed last season, maybe some regression for some of their guys. Their staff isn't great, but they get some decent production from their starting staff. And then again, Felix Bautista at the back end of that pen has just shut it down for them. So I'll go playoffs for the Orioles. As much as I want to put them on the bubble right now, they've found a way. Adley Rutschman is everything they wanted and more. Exactly here. So again, we're looking at the wild card right now. You got Baltimore, Toronto, and the Yankees in there. So the AL East, one of the best divisions of baseball, on a historic pace to be really good as well. So I'll put the O's in the playoff tier right now, although I think next time we update this, it'll be a bubble for the Baltimore Orioles. Next, we go to the 23-20 Boston Red Sox. For me, they're a bubble team as well. You get some decent production from this lineup again. Like Masataka Yoshida figuring things out is awesome. Might be one of the better contracts in all of baseball now, looking at that. Chris Sale starting to come back. Kenley Jansen throwing 99 miles an hour. Blows my mind at this point. I think if we end off this season, the Red Sox very well could finish in last place and the O's could finish fourth. And I think that's how it might go here. Beat up on the Blue Jays for this as well. Like these, if they split with the Jays, they are a under 500 team, right? So they sweep the Jays 23-20 right now. I don't think they're for real this season, so I'll put the Red Sox on the bubble. Next, we look at the Chicago Cubs. So far this season, 19-23 run differential of plus 23. Last 10, they're 3-7. They're on a 4-game losing streak. I didn't believe in the Chicago Cubs to start the season. There was so many bounce back candidates, right? Like having Eric Hosmer in there. You get Cody Bellinger back, who's been great. absolutely. And then Nico Horner has been awesome. Dansby Swanson a little bit underperforming as well. And I didn't think the rotation really was for real. But Justin Steele, awesome arm. Other than that, it's not much exciting stuff. Wisniewski hasn't been what we've wanted, definitely, from him. Marcus Stroman has been solid as well. J-Mo, he's been okay. So for me, the Cubs, it's kind of like, who cares? I don't think they're on the bubble. I don't think they'll have a good enough record by the end of the season. I think it's going to be the Brewers and it's going to be the Cardinals going to the playoffs from that division, and I don't think it's the Cubs. So for me, they go in the who cares. A little bit different, not as skill-wise here with the teams, but it's how much do I think they're going to make the playoffs? And for me, it's like, who cares about the Cubs? I don't think they're going to really make an effort here. Next, we go to the Chicago White Sox, 15-28, 9 games behind Minnesota in first place in a very bad AL Central as well. They have a negative 66 run differential for a team that had the second best odds to win the division, I believe. I think they're going to start selling pieces. I think Lucas Giolito is going to be gone, and I think Liam Hendriks is going to be gone again. Liam Hendriks not a guy who's played this season, coming back from the cancer diagnosis. But for me, who cares about the White Sox? That this season seems to be over for them as well. That such a bad start. Unless you rip off a 10-game heater at some point here, it's going to be tough catching up. So for me, who cares about the Chicago White Sox? Up next, the Cincinnati Reds. So far this season, the Reds 19-23. And I think it's been tough treading for them as well. Nick Lodolo goes on the IL here after one of the more unlucky starts to a season. Ashcraft, been okay. Start the year. Hunter Green, been okay as well. Other than that, there's not too much to be excited about. I saw them in Miami this weekend. Like Jake Fraley hitting 3 for them, doing well. But it's like there's not too much to be excited about. McLean's up now for the Reds. Before they bring up De La Cruz, too, I think this team isn't very exciting. So for me, it's not a hopeless season because you're a couple games under 500 here. You can salvage a decent year, maybe like 74, 75 wins, I think, up for the Reds. So for me, they're going to go right back into the who cares category as well. Cleveland Guardians are next. Kind of disappointing start to the season, 19-22, a run differential of negative 28 so far this season. Not too good at home, 9-12. And then against teams better than 500, they're 12-13. So maybe a tough start for them with some decent teams that they've played so far. But I think Josh Naylor's starting to get hot. It's helping this team score some runs again. And then Bo Naylor's going to come up as well, I think, and catch for them and help provide something well. Young arms doing their thing when they're being called up right now with Bybee for sure. So I'm going to go the Cleveland Guardians are a bubble team. Because of how poor the AL Central is going to be this season, they have a very good chance to make the playoffs here. But for now, I'm going to put them on the bubble. And we have our first shit bums of the day. The Colorado Rockies are going in the hopeless category. I don't think anyone's going to have any gripes with that. The 18-25 Rockies right now. Again, pretty much impossible to pitch at Coors Field. They have a run differential of negative 30. 6-11 against teams greater than 500. I don't have much to say about the Colorado Rockies. They don't really invest into their team. Not the best farm system as well, so it's tough when those two things don't mix too well. Detroit Tigers are next up, currently playing the Pirates right now, but they're 19-21 so far this season. I'm going to put them on the bubble. I thought last season was an absolute disaster. Nothing could have gone worse for them. We talked about Eduardo Rodriguez. He had so many issues as well last season with some family stuff, the COVID. So it was nice to see him bounce back as well. And they're finally getting some good production from that bullpen, even if they're selling off guys like Gregory Soto. So I think they can stay in it. They're a bubble team. They're not horrible. They can make things interesting in this AL Central division. So I'm going to put the Tigers on the bubble. Next up, we have the Houston Astros. I think it would be a disservice to what they've built over the last 5-10 years if you don't put them in the playoffs, thinking that they're going to be able to turn this not around, but still make things go. I mean, you get Hunter Brown coming in for Justin Verlander. Verlander's looked horrible since he's left as well, but Jose Abreu hasn't helped at all. That's really been a disservice to this team also, but still a run differential of plus 30. Bullpen's been solid, 14-10 against teams over 500 and a losing record at home. We get Jose Altuve back at some point for them, and things will start to turn around for the Houston Astros here. They are a playoffs team right now. The Kansas City Royals go into the hopeless division for sure. 13-31 so far this year, a negative 63 run differential. They can't get people out. And you have guys like MJ Melendez, just horrible at the plate to start this season. Vinny Pasquantino, kind of everything we wanted as well. He's the next Freddie Freeman-esque type, zone contact, and just making contact with the ball, not striking out a ton. So for me, the Alls go in the hopeless tier. I'm sorry. to the great people of Kansas City, but you're 13-31. That's a tough turnaround too. If you're not going to go on that heater. The Los Angeles Angels, 22-21. Kind of interesting spot to find them in. I think they're a better team than years past. They're getting some decent pitching on the mound. Shohei is, again, the best player in baseball. Mike Trout has been struggling a little bit, which is interesting to see. One of his worst months of his career he is coming off of. But I'm going to put the Los Angeles Angels on the bubble. Pretty much the only way they can get in, I would think, is if they end up somehow winning this division and the other teams in the two division don't pass the AL East. The AL East is going to become a nice little clusterfuck at some point, I think, here, and it might hurt them from getting teams into the playoffs. So I'm going to put the Angels on the bubble. I think it's a decent enough team. They're getting some decent production from all over that lineup, so I'll put them on the bubble. Next up, we have the Dodgers. They're plus 53 run differential. Expected win-loss is 27-16 as well, 8-2 in their last 10. The Dodgers are really good. Again, the James Outman. It's a different type of lineup. Max Muncy, we're getting him good performances after an abysmal year last season. He's doing the Max Muncy thing, not great average, still hitting home runs, getting on base, so being great. I'll put them in the World Series category. It's not the same Dodgers teams as years past, but if they run away with the West like they have in years past, I think they have a decent shot again. Not too much worry if you get above Arizona and San Diego keeps faltering like they are. So I'll put the Dodgers in the World Series. Next up, the Miami Marlins. They're who cares for me. I don't think they're really a bubble team because you see the teams chasing them in the wild card. Right now they hold the third wild card spot, but they are 21-21. Their expected win-loss record is 15-27. So definitely due for some regression in the wins category there. I love everything that they've done with their rotation, letting the young guys come up, as well as awesome as a baseball fan. But for me, let's look at the three teams chasing the Diamondbacks, the Pirates, and the Marlins who are in the wild card, and that is the Philadelphia Phillies, the New York Mets, and the San Diego Padres. I think the big dogs are going to eat the little dogs at this point, and these teams are going to start to fall here again early in the season. But for me, the Marlins, again, Jazz is out again. And then Sandy Alcantara just hasn't been the same Sandy as last season. So Miami Marlins are in the who cares category for me. Pretty easy playoff tier for the Milwaukee Brewers here. With the St. Louis Cardinals struggling as much as they are, Pittsburgh Pirates aren't as good as their record would indicate for me. And then you don't have to really worry about the Reds. And I don't think you're going to have to worry about the Cubs in here. The Brewers and the Cardinals are going to be the ones fighting for this division, and they've got a nice little lead on them, 7.5 games up on the Cardinals. So for me, if I'm looking pretty happy if I'm the Brewers, and you're going to get some guys coming back off the IL, right? Woodruff at some point. I know he's on the 60-day IL, but closer to the end of the season, Brandon Woodruff will be coming back. The Milwaukee Brewers, easy playoff tier. Minnesota Twins have gotten great pitching. Joe Ryan, I was wrong on him. Hand up. He's been incredible. Jorge Lopez also been really good. Tyler Mahle goes to the IL, done for the year, which is sad. But for me, Minnesota Twins are going to the playoff tier. I thought they could win their division. I bet on them to win the division at the start of this season. Joey Gallo, thank God he figured things out. He must really hate New York because he's good everywhere else that he has played so far. So Minnesota Twins go into the playoff tier. The New York Mets, as bad as they've been this season, 20-23. For me, they're a good enough team to be in the playoff tier. You're getting the worst Justin Verlander in a while. You're getting the worst Max Scherzer of a while. You're not really getting a lot of production from the guys in the lineup. They have some call-up options as well. I think this is about the worst they can get for the Mets. 3-7 in their last 10 games. They're 8-9 against teams over 500, 7-9 at home. I'm not going to be Frank the Tank here. I think there's still some optimism for the New York Mets, so they're going to go into my playoff tier. The New York Yankees, as much as I hate them, are also in the playoff tier, 25-19. I got to see them beat up on the Jays last night live. Aaron Judge, still a great baseball player, sadly. Lineup overperformed last season. It's not great again this year, but you're getting so much of the production from the top of the lineup again. You should have top-tier pitching when everyone comes back. Who knows what Carlos Rodon is going to do? Who knows if he's going to play this year? But they're a good enough team to make the playoffs, as much as I hate it. The Oakland A's are on pace to be the worst baseball team of all time when it comes to run differential. I think this would be dishonorable if I didn't put them in the hopeless tier, but I like some of the pieces that they have. Definitely Brent Rooker and Yeseri Ruiz. But other than that, it's just been a horrible season. The fans revolting. They're leaving Oakland. This couldn't be a worse season. The owner didn't deserve to go to Vegas. He didn't deserve to get what he wanted with how poorly he'd treated that franchise and that city as well. So the Oakland A's, sadly for them, let's look at what their run differential here. Their run differential is negative 159. That's fucked. No one else is more than 60 runs. Down 60 runs. So the Oakland A's in the hopeless tier. That's so many. The Philadelphia Phillies kind of found a spark when Bryce Harper came back. I know they were 4-4 at some point when he came back, and they were 500 as well. This is a playoff team who did it last season. Bryce Harper's back. Taijuan Walker hasn't been what they've wanted. You're starting Matt Strom start the year as well, but then Wheeler, Nola, expected stats always better than what their actual stats have been. They get the Giants again today. Kind of struggled this series so far, but this team is playoff caliber. I think they can make it again. We might have more playoff teams than there are playoff spots, so don't hate me for that. But the Philadelphia Phillies definitely a playoff-worthy team. The Pittsburgh Pirates, 22-20, the darlings of the first couple months of the season. I don't think they're a very good baseball team. Mitch Keller, he fucking rocks. I'm very happy for Mitch Keller, but the Pittsburgh Pirates go in the who cares tier for me. This team was 20-8 a couple weeks ago, I think, and now they're 22-20, 2-8 in their last 10, so that doesn't really match up, but close enough. Their expected win-loss 22-20 as well, so they're playing okay. The lineup has been overperforming, I think, and then you lose O'Neal Cruz, and then you don't have that many players like waiting to come up, I think, from the minors for the Pirates. So they go into the who cares tier for me. I think they start to decline here. I have no clue what has gone on with the San Diego Padres. It might be the pitching, but you get Fernando Tatis Jr. back in that lineup. Manny Machado struggled a ton. His numbers, shocking to me. So I think the talent's too good to put them on the bubble. The Padres, talent-wise, do not line up with these four teams also in that category. So they're going to go in the playoff caliber tier for me, just because I know what they can do. Juan Soto, Fernando Tatis, and you got guys like Xander Bogaerts as well. This team is too good to be playing as poorly as they are, so I'm going to put them in the playoff tier as well. San Francisco Giants go into the bubble tier, 19-23. I don't think they're as bad as well. They've gotten some pretty poor pitching, I think. Their run differential is -23. So fuck, maybe they're on the edge of the who cares tier as well. I'm not really worried about them threatening the top three teams in this division, so maybe I'll go who cares. I don't think they make a run at those top three teams. I don't think they find their way into the playoffs, so I'll go the who cares tier for the San Francisco Giants. Next, the Seattle Mariners. Pretty surprised with how their season has gone. 21-21, expected win-loss 24-18. Still a positive run differential of 28 runs, which is almost better than Houston's, who's in second place, and way better than the Angels at only +9. They have been bad against good teams, 6-11 against teams greater than 500 so far this season. So, fuck. I mean, with how good that division kind of has become with the Rangers figuring things out, I'll put them in the bubble. I think they should be close to the playoff tier as well. I think they're too talented. They got a good pitching staff again, some injuries there, but you're still run by Luis Castillo, and he's been a dog. Unfortunately, that Red Sox start didn't show that, but I'll put the Mariners on the bubble here. 5 teams left here. St. Louis Cardinals are, what is this record? 17-26 to start the season with an expected win-loss that have them at 22-21. They have a positive run differential +6, and they are 11-19 against teams over 500. That's a lot. That's probably the most I've seen playing teams over 500. So that's a pretty tough schedule to start the season for the St. Louis Cardinals. And they're 7-3 in their last 10. Things are starting to look up for St. Louis. Again, I don't think the rotation is really good, but I think in a weak kind of division here that they'll start to figure things out, and it's them and the Milwaukee Brewers for the division. So they're a playoff caliber team. They're not playing like it right now. Do I put them in the bubble or do I put them in the playoffs? I'll put them in the bubble right now because they're started so far behind the 8 ball. Again, you need a 10-game heater, 15-game heater where you go 12-3 or 11-4 for them to right the ship here. But I think they're the first or second best team in this division, no doubt. Tampa Bay Rays are next, 32. 11 to start this season. They got the easiest start of any team this year. It was a cookie schedule for them, and they absolutely dominated, something that some teams it's tough to do. So kudos to the Tampa Bay Rays of starting as hot as they did. Right now, they're 5-5 in their last 10, and they have the Yankees. They're 19-3 at home, a run differential of 123, and they are 14-9 against teams over 500. So not great for the Tampa Bay Rays. I don't think they're a World Series contender. I think the pitching is going to be tough for them with all these injuries coming. Like Glasnow, who knows what that setback looks like. I saw he's having another rehab start, but Rasmussen's out for the season. They do have Shane McClanahan, who could argue is to be one of the top guys in the AL East. So I'll put him in the playoffs, not the World Series tier just yet. AL West, final team. From there, the Texas Rangers, 26-16, 7 through their last 10, run differential plus 88, and their expected win-loss is 29-13. They can have some really, really good pitching with how well Nathan Eovaldi has been for the rest of this season. So the Texas Rangers, I'm going to put them in the playoffs tier pretty simply. I don't know if they're a World Series caliber team, but the pitching that they're getting will help you win a World Series, help you go deep with their main guys. Will Smith at the back end, so I'll pick up another save last night. They've been okay. Mark Semien, really good. Corey Seager, once he comes back, again, little injury worries for Corey Seager, but this is a playoff team. The Texas Rangers, playoff caliber for sure, but the way the AL East is playing and how it's going to shake up, there's going to be some good teams that end up missing the playoffs here, and the Texas Rangers are going to want to win this division, no doubt. So they're in the playoffs for me. Next up, the Toronto Blue Jays. They are 24-18, 7.5 games behind the Tampa Bay Rays, 6-4 their last 10. They're on a 2-game losing streak, both to the Yankees, plus 16 run differential. And they are 15-12 against teams over 500. Again, they're in a tough stretch where they don't face a team under 500 till the middle of June. So this is kind of nut-cutting time for the Jays. I think they're a World Series caliber team. They're getting the starting pitching from the bottom of the rotation that they kind of like and that they need. Again, Kikuchi's been solid. The peripherals aren't amazing. I'm not going to put him in the World Series tier, but Kevin Gausman very well could be the best pitcher in the AL East besides Shane McClanahan. I think those two would have a nice little fight for that with Garrett Cole as well. But the Toronto Blue Jays are a really good team. The Kevin Kiermaier deal has definitely paid off. Dalton Varsho deal hasn't really paid off with how well Lourdes Gurriel has been playing. But I think this is a playoff caliber team. Easy. Should find their way back in this season. And finally, the Washington Nationals, who haven't been as bad as I thought they were going to be, but they're going to go into the who cares territory because I don't think they have any chance of making the playoffs here. So far this year, 18-24. But their expected win-loss, 19-23, minus 21 run differential. You're getting good pitching from Mackenzie Gore. You're getting good pitching from Josiah Gray. You're getting contributions from that lineup. I just don't think it's going to be good enough to push into the bubble, push into the playoffs. So that's why they're going to go into the who cares tier. Right, this is the first tier of this season. Probably do one kind of right after the halfway point, maybe 3/4 point to see where you're updated. Let me know what you guys think of the tier. Thank you for watching. Thank you to So Rare, and I will see you guys tomorrow.